All right, gang, I have an update to that LAPD Boyle Heights story. I have an update I'm going to give you right here. The LAPD and the news media are already looking for a reason to justify this officer's actions. Yeah, they're looking for a reason to justify his behavior and his actions. Already they're looking for the narrative. I'm going to go through it, but hopefully I can remember to key you in on certain things in this story. I don't want you to get confused and think, all right, so maybe the officer, okay, he was justified. They're trying to distract us from the fact that this LAPD officer is a thug. He's a bully. He was looking to pick a fight. He found one and he beat the crap out of a guy he didn't have to even hit. I'm going to show you this right here in this narrative or this story. I read it and I'm like, LAPD's already looking to justify it. Let's jump into it. NBC Los Angeles. Thank you, NBC4. A small object that's seen falling to the ground during a video recorded violent arrest in Boyle Heights could be a key piece of evidence in the investigation into whether an LAPD officer used excessive force, and the man seen punched in the video sued the city of Los Angeles Monday, alleging civil rights violations. Damn right. Multiple law enforcement sources with knowledge of the case told NBC4's I-Team the object was booked into evidence and it appeared to be a large screw with a rubber or plastic grip similar to improvised weapons, sometimes found in jails or prisons. The sources cautioned, however, that it's also possible the item was on the ground before the confrontation April 27th on Houston Street and was kicked or tossed in the air during the struggle. A video recording of a portion of the encounter was captured on a witness's cell phone and was made public last week. We also have the body cam footage, which you're seeing on this video as well as the editorial I did, I think, yesterday. It showed LAPD officer Frank A. Hernandez repeatedly punching a man in his head and body for over 33 seconds, throwing his sunglasses in the street, going, motherfucker. That's what LAPD do, right? The object drops to the ground a few seconds after the first punch is thrown, and it slides down the sidewalk from just behind the man's right shoe to the edge of the camera's view. The man punched wasn't seriously hurt. I like how they have to say that. Refused paramedic treatment and was eventually released from custody without being formally arrested or booked in jail. Without being formally arrested. But now they're going to try to get him for having a weapon, you see. That's what they're trying to justify this cop's behavior. And then it talks a little bit about the lawsuit. And it says that Richard Castillo claims in an initial complaint he was living in a vacant lot on Houston Street between the church and some homes and was unaware he was trespassing until he was confronted and ordered to leave by two uniformed police officers April 27th, which he does. He gets up and he leaves. He's all right. He goes off to the sidewalk. Maybe he didn't know he was trespassing. It was an empty field, and they said, hey, this is owned by somebody. You need to go. It's private property. He's okay. He went to a sidewalk. He went to the sidewalk. He wasn't, so he mouthed off a little. Big deal. Cops need to get used to that. The lawsuit alleges that the male officer removed an item from his body and dropped it on the ground before the physical confrontation, speculating the item was the officer's body-worn video camera. The law enforcement sources who spoke to NBCLA said they believe Castillo had struck the officer, knocking the camera to the ground before the cell phone recording began to capture the scene. Well, if he struck the officer knocking the camera to the ground, that's because the officer was beating the holy shit out of him. See, they're trying to confuse us here. Well, he may have hit the officer, knocked his body cam off. Yeah, the officer was attacking him and beating his ass because he said, fuck off, homie. Castillo claims the male officer began to violently strike the plaintiff in his face. This is his lawsuit. head and body, despite the fact that the plaintiff was compliant, cooperative, non-resisting, non-dangerous, unarmed, and non-threatening. All of those are true. Just because you're mad, hey man, screw you, cop, screw you, that's non-threatening. It is. You're allowed to say that to people. You can say that. He wasn't doing anything aggressive to the officer other than verbally aggressive by mouthing off to him. But he was walking down the sidewalk while he was doing it. He was walking away. It says the complaint also accuses the male officer of spitting into Castillo's face during the attack. He was pretty close to him, cussing him out. But then it goes through a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of this because it is lengthy. I am putting a link to this story in the description box below. I just wanted to point out some important things here. On the screw with the little rubber grip, how did the officer see that from so far away? What the officer go, Steve Austin eye. He's got a weapon. Watch this clip. So how did the officer see that from that far away? Come on now. The officer didn't even have to walk down there. The officer could have said, all right, whatever, but just don't go back in the field as private property. And they could have left. That cop wanted a fight. He was pissed off that day. He said, I'm going to knock somebody the fuck out. Here we go. And I'm saying this based on the officer's actions, his verbal language, what happened. Somebody comes out, a bystander, to say he's a nice man, and the cop goes, go inside. Get the fuck inside. Go inside. He was looking for a fight. He wasn't there to be a public servant, or he would have said, I know, ma'am, I understand that, ma'am, but no, he didn't do that. He said, go inside. Come on, get out of here. That cop was looking for a fight. But now they're going to justify it. Well, the guy had a weapon and the cop had to defend himself. Hey, it's use of force, officer safety. See, they're going to justify it, guys. And some people were telling me about this other cop that he was standing up for the Constitution and now he may be fired. And how I was saying that he shouldn't have made the video in uniform. And they said, no, he's standing up for people's rights. He's a good cop, yada, yada. You guys missed what I'm saying, though. When you're a police officer, you're not really there for the people. I know I know a lot of officers want to be. A lot of officers are out there to help people. They want to stand up for the people. But you need to understand your employer, the police department, the mayor, the city council, all of them, they have an agenda. They have things they want to accomplish in the community. They have things they want to do. And your own personal views may clash with their narrative. So if you make some video in uniform, you may be going against the narrative or the agenda of your bosses. That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying the cop is wrong. It's not wrong for any cop to stand up for the Constitution or stand up for the people's rights. I'm just saying you could get fired doing it. That's all I'm saying, because your personal points of view could clash with those of your employers. And your employer's going to go, you know what, we just don't like what you said. You represented us in a bad way and we're going to let you go. It happens, guys. I'm not saying the cop shouldn't have done it. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that's the mistake he made that cost him his job, or could cost him his job if he hasn't been fired yet. I know he was pending termination. But, looking at this one here, Hollenbeck Station and LAPD, they want to justify this cop's behavior because the police chief is in trouble right now. The mayor is probably in trouble. City councilman for that area is going, hey, man, we got to put this fire out. justify the cop's behavior and say, well, it was a gangbanger with a weapon and he pulled it on the cop and he got, a cop had to defend himself. That's the narrative that's coming out. But you see what I'm saying, how now they're going to justify this bad cop to save face on the mayor, the councilman, and the police chief. So being a police officer in today's society, it's not about defending the people. It's not about standing up for the Constitution. It's about what does the mayor want to accomplish in his community? What do the council members want to accomplish? What does the police chief need to accomplish? Those are the things that you are supposed to stand up for. And so you can't really give a lot of your personal views because they may clash with their agendas or their narratives. And they will say, hey, you know what? Take that video down because that's not what we're about. And it may be the right thing, like this other guy in Seattle. He said great stuff, but the mayor and the city council are like, no, we are enforcing coronavirus social distancing. We are enforcing the stay home lockdown. And you said, no, we shouldn't enforce it. You got to go. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying the cop's wrong, but I'm saying his personal views are now clashing with what the community leaders want to accomplish. Now he's got to go. And so here we got one where this cop's behavior now may be justified because, hey, we don't want to fire the chief. Hey, man, the mayor's in trouble right now. We need to save his ass. Let's justify it and say that was a gangbanger with a weapon. There you go. But I think Castillo should take this all the way to the Supreme Court. Get this guy fired, win a lot of money, and buy a big house on the hill. You go, Mr. Castillo. Because we're on your side. F that cop. I'm sorry to have to say that, but he's a thug. Chief Michael Moore said he had great concern about the incident, which was reclassified as a more serious internal investigation, after a supervisor at the Hollenbeck station was shown the eyewitness cell phone video. After the eyewitness cell phone video. Means his partner probably didn't say shit. She was like, well, he was defending himself. His partner didn't say, well, he was out of control. He fucking just started beating on the guy. His partner probably didn't say that. She was like, hell, we had to do it. He was very aggressive. So the internal investigation came after the video. What about the body cam video now that's out? That shows a close-up. So I don't want to talk too long. It's already been 12 minutes or 10 minutes. However, I'm going to edit it down a little bit. There you go, guys. I'm going to put a link to this story in the description box below. You can, for yourself, go read the whole thing and draw a conclusion. I'm telling you right now, they're already looking for the narrative. Community Leo Watch, keeping you updated on Leos. That's law enforcement officers from coast to coast. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry, there's not a whole lot of pictures in this, but I just wanted to get this up and get it out to you.